Good day, this is MKT314, Business to Business Marketing. I'll be taking you through study section 5, Procurement and Sales Practices of Marketing. When you have studied this section, you should be able to explain the importance of sales force. You should be able to discuss sales force of organizations. You should be able to explain the roles of sales force. And lastly, you should be able to explain the categories of salesmen. Importance of sales force. The whole essence of marketing has been established to be transaction defined as the exchange of value between two parties. If exchange is at the center of marketing, then personal selling occupies a preeminent position in marketing. It is the marketing function or activity that identifies prospective buyers and persuade them to physically to exchange perhaps their money with the output of the firm. It is at the point of personal selling that marketing is consummated. A sale is made and revenue is realized by the firm, and the consumer takes ownership and possession of the firm's outputs. While it can be said that marketing is a breadwinner in the firm, it is obvious that personal selling is the bread getter. I hope you've noted that point. One is not in any way suggesting that personal selling is the most important thing of all marketing activities. It is a part of the total marketing effort, a very crucial and decisive part, one can say. Personal selling brings the buyer and the seller into direct contact. The interaction that takes place at this point is the art of marketing, representing the market transaction with its inherent issues of exchange and values. Salesforce organizations. Every organization must have one or more persons whose responsibility is to ensure that customers and or prospects are contacted and convinced to accept the values offered in exchange for a value desired by the organization. Such persons entrusted with the task of affecting market transactions make up the sales force of organizations. The sales force is indispensable in organizations. There's no amount of advertising, sales promotion, or publicity that can make up the personal selling. Someone somewhere must establish contact with buyers for market transactions to take place. Indeed, nothing happens in organizations until a salesperson sells something. The core of personal selling has been identified as locating of prospective customers, converting them to buyers, and ensuring their satisfaction. This, however, does not fully explain the role of the sales force. The sales force in modern marketing is not only concerned with selling function, dealing primarily with current sales, but also is concerned with laying the foundation for future sales through the performance of information gathering function. Let's talk about roles of sales force. The sales force is indeed the link between organizations and their customers. Salesmen have dual responsibility in many respects. They pass information in the form of messages from organizations to customers and bring back reports from the customers to the organization. So it means that they are doing a dual responsibility. The first responsibility of the salesman is to pass the information in form of message from their organization in which they work for, or where they work, or where they contribute to the fulfillment of the objective of the organization. They take our messages to the customers, and at the same time they bring the customers messages, which is a report from the customer back to the organization, which is a form of what we call feedback. Salesmen also have to ensure that organizations realize profit from sales and those customers derive adequate satisfaction from buying organizations' outputs. The good salesman is the one who succeeds in discharging his responsibilities to his organization, apt customers. This needs careful handling. The successful sale is that which brings profit to the organizations and at the same time provides adequate satisfaction to buyers or customers. Let's talk about categories of salesmen. We have seen salesmen so far to refer to those engaged in personal selling. You will find different terms in other books, perhaps because of the increasing involvement of women in personal selling. People are arguing that the term salesman is inappropriate to describe all persons in personal selling. The distorted and tarnished image of salesmen is a more convincing reason why people in personal selling are asking to be called other names. The new terms used to describe people in personal selling are salesperson, sales representatives, field representative, sales consultants, marketing representatives, accountant executives, manufacturers representatives, agents, services representatives, and so on and so forth. Salesmen do not all face the same selling situations or tasks. The role of a salesman will play the role a salesman will play depend on the selling situation or a task before him. And based on this, we can describe two broad categories of salesmen, and we are going to discuss that briefly now. The first category is what they call the order takers. The order takers. While the second category is what we call the order getters. Let's talk about the order taking situation. Order takers. The order taking situation obtains where the buyer has previous experience of the product and the function of the salesman is to price the product specified, take payment and effect delivery. While in order making situations, the buyer has no previous experience of the product and is actively seeking information, or he has only an ill-defined or latent demand for a product to fill a given need. In this instance, the salesman will be challenged to identify and locate the potential buyers or prospects and convert them to buyers. We can also classify salesmen on the basis of positions they occupy. The following classifications was offered. Delivery salesman, for example, the salesman here predominantly delivers product to buyers. Inside order taker, this salesman stands behind the counter and serves buyers. Field order taker, the salesman is predominantly an order taker but goes outside to meet buyers. Missionary salesman, this salesman does not do direct selling but calls on actual and potential users, educating them and building goodwill for his organization. Technical salesman, this salesman selling basically technical goods and offering technical services. Goods salesman, salesman involved in creative sales of tangible products. And lastly, service salesman, salesmen involved in creative sales or services, e.g. insurance. I hope you have learned one or two things in the study section, and I hope that you are going to move on to learn other things in the other study section. Thanks for listening.